And hello everybody, welcome to the Go Home Wrestling Show. I'm EJ. Alongside with me is the madman himself, GriffXT.
What's going on, everybody?
And right behind me is my little one, Lily. Wow, man. Well, first thing, I'm going to start off with the show with this, okay? I want to thank everyone, along with Magriff and D-Shep. D-Shep and I did a launch stream. We did the watch along for WWE Crown Jewel on Friday night, and it was Friday, and it was a lot of fun. And we do appreciate everyone that came in, that followed, that participated. It was a lot of fun. Can't wait to do that again. The next one I will be a part of course, will be Royal Rumble in January. Will not be able to do Survivor Series, as in my profession, not taking a Sunday off before Thanksgiving is a major no-no. So I will not be able to participate in that. I'm sure we could probably get someone to do it for our channel for the Survivor Series, and possibly I could do TLC. I'll let you know. But for sure, I'm slated for the Rumble. But thank you again. And along with that, yes, honey, I got my kid in the background. One thing I'm going to cover too, starting next week, we're going to cover, it's a whole new show format. We're not going to cover every single thing, because we've been doing this thing that we started last week with the watch-alongs, where we're watching Raw, SmackDown, NXT, NXT UK. And with that, we discuss a lot of what's going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover the major points of the shows, but we're going to add NXT to the format, and possibly, if there's enough time, NXT UK, and cover that too with the show. So we're going to cover a lot. We're going to cover a lot, but we're not going to cover as much on each show. So we just want to let you know that's the new format. So yeah, today we're basically going to cover WWE Evolution, Crown Jewel, Raw, SmackDown. We'll go right in order, and let's start with Evolution. And
hey, before we jump into this,
yes,
big shout out, happy birthday to our mod YouTuber William.
Oh yes,
glad you're in here, buddy.
I'm sorry. Happy birthday to YouTuber William. He is one of the mods, and I do appreciate everything he does. He promotes us. He does a lot of promotion for us, and we do appreciate everything he does. SMJ, welcome, my friend. And
What's
Whiskey.
up, Sam?
And Winner said the DX laid to rest at Crown Jewel. We'll get into that, because we are going to cover that. So let's get right into it. Last Sunday, WWE Evolution in Long Island, New York. First ever all-women's pay-per-view, at least for the WWE. But they try to make it seem like they were the first, but we'll ignore that, okay? Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to cover it with a series of questions, instead of going with the match-by-match. Expectations going into this, Matt Griff. What were your feelings going into this event?
Rushed, nervous. I didn't think it was going to be that great of a show. Wasn't too excited about the show, but watched anyway.
Yeah, I obviously wanted to witness history, and then of course we did the watch along last week, and very fun show for what we did. Here's the thing, though, because you said rushed, and let's go with that real quick with the whole rushed. There you go, narrative. The fact that they picked Long Island, New York, do you feel like they couldn't find anything? It could have been scheduling, or like, do you feel like they could have picked a better market for a historic pay-per-view like this? Or would they have to go to their home turf? But preferably, wouldn't it have been better for MSG?
It definitely would have been better to have it in MSG. I'm not against having it in Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it was a good venue for it. And definitely, I think some of the stuff that's been going on with MSG probably played a big part into it. And then not having the time frame, like we talked about, to set up an actual venue played a huge part. But I really don't have a problem, with it being in Long Island.
GGW raid coming. Thank you, GGW, for the raid. Appreciate it, my friend. Make sure you check him out, GGW Network. Twitch.tv, if you could put it here. Hold on. And I got my phone blowing up. Here we go. This is for the shout out, my friend. Give him a follow. He does WWE 2K19 Universe Mode. Very good. Check him out, okay? Make sure you do that.
Great guy and awesome on the mic.
Yes.
Got to give huge props to him.
And hold on. And now I got my kid coming up. That's a cluster. Go ahead. Go color, baby. All right. Now, here's the thing. I kind of disagree with as far as the location. I think, yeah, obviously the go-to is you're going to go to New York, which is their, backyard. But as we know, the relationship with MSG and WWE hasn't been as good as of late. Right. Because now with New Japan going to hold their show on the very same weekend, on the same night as NXT TakeOver of WrestleMania weekend, they don't have a good relationship with them. But now, I felt, even though there's a little animosity between MSG and WWE, I felt the better location might have been Chicago with the Allstate Arena. Because you notice, like, the sounds, going back to Extreme Rules, going back to the recent SmackDown 1000, I believe, was the location for that. Mr. Two Belts, thank you for the host as well. I felt that would have been a better venue. They're a better wrestling crowd. I enjoy watching the shows that when they're in Chicago because you feel the fans a lot better than you would in than New York. That crowd was kind of lit, but I think you would have got a bigger response, and you probably would have sold that arena out as opposed to the lawn. And I'm going to give you the Nassau Coliseum, my friend. I've been there not too long ago. It's a shithole. And they're putting a lot of money to polish a turd, and it's not going to work. IW Blaze, thank you for the host, my friend.
You already knew where I was going to go then.
Well, what's that?
I mean, if I was picking a location, this is a historic event, so why not put it in a historical area? Let's go to Philadelphia. Let's pull out the ECW ring and really sell this thing. And as bad as I hate to give Philadelphia credit for anything, it is one of the most active bases in any kind of sport.
Yeah.
Would have really put that pay-per-view over the top.
You know what? I'm from Philly, and yeah, I'm wearing a Devils hat, so people are going, wait a minute, you're from Philly? I'm originally from Jersey, so that's why I'm a Devils fan. But going back, I live outside of Philadelphia, and I'll tell you, yes, the fans are passionate. They're crazy. But as being a Philly guy and experience a Chicago crowd, Chicago is better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you go back to WrestleMania 20. If you go back to WrestleMania 22 and what the Chicago fans brought to that,
yeah,
holy crap. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard a stadium rock like it was then. And not just that night, the following night at Raw was incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you on that. But Philly would have been a pretty good crowd to do it, but if they had to. And ECW Arena, too small of a venue for something like that. They would just, the amount of shit they would have got if they would have used a small venue. I know it's historic, but the fact that if they didn't go with something bigger, there would have been a lot of criticism, and they're getting a lot of that with Crown Jewel and all. So I think they should lay off.
Sure seemed awful small and empty.
In
where
there,
they were at.
Yeah, and we'll get into that because that goes along with the next question. Thank you, Warrior Soul 1965, for the host. Make sure you check him out as well. The TWN, he's TWU. I'm sorry, TWU, WWE 2K19. Check him out as well.
And shout out for IWA Blaze too.
Yeah,
Phenomenal
IWA
guy.
Yes, and IWA Blaze as well. We're going to allow a portion of the podcast where you guys can promote your. We're going to allow free reign for you guys to do that. Okay, now going into the next question because running off of what you just said, because you saw there was a lot of criticism as far as the set, the lighting, the presentation. What did you think of the lighting of the show and the presentation?
This is something me and you kind of talked about ourselves, but I like it. Because it was this is the beginning. We're building off of this. I know I'm probably the only one on this side of thinking. A lot of people expected this huge build-up, a huge stage, and all this stuff. I like them keeping it simple. We're building something here. And as the pay-per-views go on, it was almost like they're setting the tone. This is the first, but we're going to have our own pay-per-views throughout the year, and this is just going to be a base show, one of the minor pay-per-views versus what's to come. So I kind of like the setup.
I enjoyed it too. It was more than just that. Obviously, the main reason they were doing it, it was reported that there wasn't so many people in the arena. There was a lot of empty seats, and that was the way to cover it. But in a way, they had that old school NWA feel to it. And again, I mean, we've seen it, and a lot of people that are a part of this, that was a part of this show, were influenced by that. So I like the darkness. I don't like seeing a crowd. Because, and I've heard this on another show, because I do listen to a lot different other programs too, but I can't remember specifically which one, but they said it's better that you can't see the crowd, because when you see the crowd, it puts pressure on them, and they're afraid to react, because they could be seen, as opposed to not being seen, and that's why you heard it was a little bit louder in that arena that night. And again, even though it was a historic event, but I bet you if you would show no one in the crowd for any other, just a regular night, Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-view, I'm sure you would get that same reaction. It just seems like the fans don't react as much because they can be seen. I don't know if anyone else would agree, or even you would agree on that.
Oh, I completely agree with that.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you would. It just, when I thought about that, and then when I heard that, I was like, all right, maybe I'm not so far off.
And I think that's a two-way deal. I mean, it depends on, obviously, what fans we're talking about. Because you also got to look at NXT, and those fans love being on the crowd.
Yeah.
And it's like they hype the event up more. So it all depends on what kind of fans you got in the particular arena that night. But
Nighthawks24, thank you for the host. Now, for people that are listening to this later on in the podcast, we are live. We do live streaming, and we turn this into a podcast. We are live on twitch.tv. Go under Go Home Wrestling Show, as well as YouTube and Mixer. So when you hear this, that's the reason why. I just want to get that out of the way. And when we respond to chat as well, because we will do that, that's why. So if you want to catch us live, just follow us and then hit that notification. Man, chance to... Oh, go ahead.
A huge shout out to Nighthawks24, one of the pioneers of interactive wrestling. Much respect.
Yep.
I'm glad to say I'm part of Nighthawk Nation.
Yep, and if I could get my phone to work, I would do the emoji too. My phone's not reacting right, and you hear my kid in the background. All right, the one thing I want to say before we go on with that, oh jeez, oh no, we did cover that. I'm sorry. That was criticized. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me go on with that. I got sidetracked there. Next question I have for you, though, because these are all on the series of matches. All these questions are based on the matches of the show. Which ending of the match surprised you the most that night?
The match that surprised me, man, you're gonna get a lot of the same out of me on this one. But Baszler and Sane, just from the sheer fact of how they started to implement the 4 horsewomen into this match, and incorporating it, we definitely see possibly another faction really getting going in NXT at this point. I mean, I think we're in agreement that's all going to move forward. But it kind of excited me to think of the possibilities you could do with this. And the more I got thinking about it, man, it's almost like we get a women's version of Undisputed Era on NXT. So it sets up so many cool storylines they could do, feeding off of how they set this match up.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I'm with you as far as that. That shocked me the most. I really thought Kairi Sane was going to retain the title, and then it was going to send off Baszler, maybe possibly after Survivor Series, to put her up in the main roster. Where she would go, a lot of people were speculating it was going to be Raw to go after Ronda Rousey. Now, obviously that didn't happen. She retained the title. I would like to see where they go with this. Maybe there'll be a third battle at NXT TakeOver in LA, where she could probably drop the title back to Kairi Sane, but that remains to be seen. So we'll see what they do with that. I was shocked with the ending with that match. Not so much on anything else. Everything else we could have predicted perfectly. That one surprised me.
And just a quick hot take of a prediction I've got going to War Games.
Yeah.
Expect those two to be in a match, but also expect the undefeated Bianca Belair to be in it for a triple threat. And Bianca Belair walks out as the champ.
That could be a good possibility, and with the possibility of two people going up to the main roster. Because if they're going to push this tag team titles, you got to get more women on the roster. And I guess, and how they're going to do it, it's probably going to be a cross promotion. I guess we'll find out in time. All right, so we got what surprised you the most, and there was a lot of great matches. I can't really say there was a real stinker. If there was a match that wasn't exactly the greatest, which one would you say that would be?
Opening match. I mean, I loved seeing Trish and Lita back, but there just was so many botches, just kind of lazy wrestling. I couldn't really get into that match. So if I was saying the one that least impressed me, it's got to be the opening match.
Okay. I was thinking that at first, but I'm going to tell you right now, the main event.
I can see that. That would have been my second one.
It's hard. It's hard to believe. And yes, you put the two bellas against her, Ronda Rousey. Mm-hmm. You put 2-on-1. Obviously, that was going to somewhat even it out, and it still wasn't even. She dominated them both. She did a double Samoa drop. Just that match alone.
Oh God! And how bad was that spot, though?
It was a bad spot.
I hate to be so critical, but watching Brie Bella try to climb her way onto that was so pathetic.
Yeah, it kind of gave it away. The other thing, it was just they call it botch mode for a reason, okay? Yeah. And they rag on them for a reason. And I hate to be critical, but they're relics of a former era. They're not a part of the women's division. That is my theory, my feelings towards them. That's my opinion about them. And I could probably get shit for it. I don't care. To me, it's just they're part of a different time. Now, you could say Trish and Lita. Yeah, they're part from a different era too. But you know what? They were still taken seriously at that time as women wrestlers.
They were absolutely.
So I would say they had more right to be in there than the Bellas.
And I completely agree with that. And from what I saw from Trish, I'm not too sure Trish couldn't make another run. Lita, to me, was disappointing. That's who I expected to see excel in that match.
There was a lot of ring rust for sure, but I mean, for what there are reports that they're going to be going on until WrestleMania. How they're going to do that, I guess we'll find. And then I could be along to be a part of the push for the tag team women titles. Yes. And I'm hoping it's not because of them two winning it and then going into WrestleMania. If you're feeling that way, yeah, I saw the botches that they did. There was quite a few of them. The moonsault, it was what it was. But it was ring rust. They weren't full time in how long? Lita retired in 06. I think it was Survivor Series 06. Because I was at that show.
And it's not that we can put all the blame on Lita and Trish. I mean, Alicia Fox made one of the biggest botches we've seen in a long time.
The missing the count, yeah. I forgot the breakout. There you go. To break it up, she missed that spot.
And right on point, Potter brings it up as well. But yeah, I mean, that was a horrible mistake, and it made the ref look stupid just holding his hand up on the 2 count.
Yeah. But, well, here's the thing. That's their second one that she screwed up on, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there was a recent one before that. And
I get it. She spent a lot of time outside the ring with her injury and stuff, and maybe there's ring rust coming back, but at some point you got to get it going. And it sucks because I honestly believe Fox is one of the better wrestlers in the women's division, but she's making a lot of critical mistakes here lately.
Someone in Getterman Jones in chat said the refs in general ruined the whole show. I think it was more them trying to cover for the spots that are being missed. Mm-hmm. Like holding his arm up. Yeah, if he went down for the 3, the match was over, and that's because of Fox missing her spot. That's why you got to pay attention. You can't take the moment in. Can't sit there and stare out in the arena like, oh, la, 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 because before you know it, you're going to be caught with your pants down.
Oh, yeah.
But, again, it's a trial and error. It's time. You got to give them time. Like, this was all put together, like, rather quick. Again, all in response because of what happened back in April with the Greatest Royal Rumble. And when they announced that, what was that, July?
Mm-hmm.
When they made the announcement for the pay-per-view. And because they advertised that the original TLC was canceled and made into a house show in Boston. And they pushed that to December. So, yeah, it was right about that time. So, they had a few months to get this in order. I guess when you're doing a weekly episodic television and trying to get that ready in that short amount of time, I think that's what you saw right there. I bet you if they had more time, you would have seen a much better show.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm not knocking the show. I was still entertained. I still love the show. And I have my match of the show, the one that stole the show. So we'll get into that right now. Out of all the matches on the card, which one did you feel was the best match overall?
Baszler and Sane. For all the points I brought up and just the way they told the story going throughout the show, I enjoyed that match so much, back and forth. And then the way they shocked me at the end, because going into the show, I mean, I'm on recorded saying that Sane was going to walk out with the title. So the way they kept me guessing the whole way, I loved every detail of that match.
I'm with you on that, but I actually have to go with the Mae Young Classic for that. Tony Storm, unbelievable performance on her part. It was just a great match. I'm with you on that. It is a close second. I enjoyed that match and the Mae Young Classic more than I did the main roster title matches.
Absolutely.
Now everyone's going to go, oh, that last woman standing was the best match ever. Yeah, they were great. It was a good match, but it wasn't great.
It had great spots.
Yes, it did.
And it had horrible spots.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, I was invested in it because of the storyline. And the thing's what Becky Lynch is doing. More Becky Lynch than Charlotte. Charlotte, I feel, she's not comfortable in her position right now. We all know it. She's just like her dad. She's a heel. She feels like she's better as that. She's more comfortable with that.
Get 'em Jones made a great point. How long did Fox have to prepare for this match? We know she had at least a week. I don't know when the injury to Bliss really took place, but she had at least a week, and I can understand making some mistakes. Mm-hmm. But that pinfall deal, if you even got 2 hours to prepare, you can't miss that spot.
No, when you're playing a match, it goes up to the last second anyway. So as far as that, no, you really can't. It's not a good excuse. Need Hill, Lynch, and Charlotte dominate force in SmackDown. That would be a great Danny the Motor Botter. It would be like the equivalent to Stone Cold and Triple H.
2-man power trip.
Yep, 2001 all over again. That would be great to see. I don't see them doing that because they're enjoying for the most part, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying what they're doing. I'm sure creative's enjoying what they're doing with this whole angle, with them two going at it. All right, so we talked about the match we didn't like the most. We talked about the one that stole the show. Now, if we're going to go as far as individual performance on that show, if you got to pick one woman wrestler, who would it be?
Man, I struggled with this. But you got to go back to where the hot hand is, and Kairi Sane, against all odds, everything going against her, boy, did she put on a match of a century. So I would have to go Kairi Sane. Even though she lost, she put on a great show and made you really buy into the characters in the show.
Okay, I like that one. I would definitely put her like in the top 3. I have to go with Toni Storm.
Completely
understand. I
think
I became a mark, and let's see what they would do with her. She's an 18-year veteran too, and damn, is she good looking. And that we shouldn't be saying that as we're talking about this event, but I'm a male, okay? But overall, she's a great performer. I loved her match. It was believable. I'll tell you now, hopefully we see some more things with her in the future, in the near future. Wouldn't mind seeing her up there in SmackDown running that show.
Well, and not just her. I can't pronounce the girl's name, Ishii or Aishi or
yeah, that's why I didn't mention her name. Can't get it.
She's phenomenal. The
Yeah, she
in-ring
is.
talent she has is insane. So I can't wait to see what these two do going forward. Obviously, they're going to be signed to NXT. I know one of them already is. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I think the one that lost in the finals was already signed. Because they
Yes.
they had a video with Triple H and her, and he dressed it like, hey, did a good job. Boom, we're going to sign him. Do you think Nia Jax deserved the win? If you're talking about the Rumble, I can't see anyone else doing it at this point. It would be... You already got your SmackDown roster. You already got your storyline for that title. That's far from over. You needed someone that's believable to face Rousey at this point. So, yes, I feel she was deserving of it. I don't know how you feel about that. Do you feel that if there was anyone in that Rumble that was believable that could potentially take that title off of Ronda Rousey, who would it have been?
I'm dreaming right now, okay?
All right,
And
dream away.
This is my perfect booking hat going on. I'd have Michelle McCool win that title and make one more run, because if there's any believable superstar that was in that ring, I think Michelle McCool's the only one.
All right. Yeah, and the fact that the Undertaker, yeah, it's Undertaker's wife. I mean, because he could train her, and there would be a way to get him back on television without being a wrestler, of course. But
No offense to the Undertaker, but right now, from what I'm seeing from him and Michelle McCool,
yeah,
I sure hope it's Michelle McCool doing the training.
are you knocking the Undertaker, sir?
I can't help it. I mean,
Now you're knocking the Undertaker of now, and obviously not the old. Going back maybe 15, 20 years ago. I mean, he was a man. Yeah.
a whole different story then. And I understand. It's age. I get it.
Okay, as long as you're not shitting on him completely, because and then you're going to trigger me.
No. He's still in my top 5 of all time.
All right. Want to save page there, my friend. All right, well, let's go right into, let's finish this off. What we do after we cover every show is we obviously give it a rating. We're going to give it we call it the Meltzer 5-star rating. And, of course, that's the knock on that jackass. We could go 6 or 7 sometimes. I'm not a fan of Meltzer. I don't know about you people that are in the world of wrestling. If you're a fan, may like him, may not. And I got my kid flipping out. Yes. No. So, what would you give it from 1 to 5?
I give this one a 4, and based on the 2 matches that we've praised the most, those 2 matches knocked it out of the park. Great storylines going into the pay-per-view. Some of the matches were a little bit of a letdown, but the storylines were good. 2 fantastic matches. And believe it or not, the Nikki Bella, Ronda Rousey, I know we agree it wasn't a good match, but it was better than what I expected. Mm-hmm. So based on all those points, I'll give it a 4.
I'm with you. Now, you see, we're not going to disagree on a lot of this. It's weird. But, yeah, I agree with you as well. It is a 4. 2 minor spots. I mean, the world title matches, they were okay. I felt the Rousey one was probably the worst one of the night, but I did like the last woman standing. Great spots. There were some things that did kind of ruin it. But every other match was great. I even liked the opening match. It was a nostalgia, just like the main event.
Right.
Which should have been the start of the show themselves, too, in my opinion. But you're not going to put Triple H, HBK, and all them first. It was a nostalgia match. I enjoyed it. Other than that, I give it a 4, just because of that. It was a great show. I enjoyed it. And here's the one thing, because you find it funny that I picked the Mae Young Classic, because you said I was more I reacted more with the NXT title. You said,
Mm-hmm.
At first it's like, oh yeah, they're both great matches, but I felt, I even watched the Mae Young Classic match again because they posted it on YouTube. I enjoyed that match more. That was just me. Okay.
Well, and to that point, you did react more to the NXT deal. I mean, and let's be honest, we talked about it during that live show.
Yeah.
We didn't watch the Mae Young Classic. So what we were seeing is 2 characters for our first time.
Mm-hmm.
And the wrestling was phenomenal.
Oh, it was.
But we weren't sold on the characters going into the match like we are Kairi Sane and Baszler. So there was a lot more build on that side.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I guess like the unexpected is like better than for sure because, again, I thought for sure Kairi Sane was retaining.
Absolutely. That blew my mind.
Get him Jones says I reacted more to the ref kicking the chair to Becky. All right. They forgot their spots. We understand. All right, we're done with.
The best part was the ref about falling, doing that. I about died laughing.
There's been plenty of bad bumps for referees getting hit. I've seen when a guy completely missed and then pretended to get kicked in the head and fell back. It was like LeBron James trying to draw a foul. All right.
Or flopping.
Oh, yep, pretty much. All right, let's go into it. We talked about Evolution. Now it's on to Raw, ladies and gentlemen. And here's the thing. When you talk about historic events such as Evolution, what's the one word that comes to mind when you go to the next night on Raw? Follow through. 2 words. Mm-hmm. Follow through. How do you follow through, or follow up, actually, in a historic pay-per-view?
Well, you bring out Brock Lesnar. That's how.
Oh, yeah, that's, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get into how they followed through with the women's match, but let's get right into it, the first part. The Universal title final showdown. Now, as we all know, last week, well, going on 2 weeks now, actually 2 weeks today, Roman Reigns is battling leukemia, taking time off, and he's Griff is small now.
I am. That'll bring more viewership in if you can't really see me, though.
Yeah.
That's a promise.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. What the hell is that about? Oh, I'm sorry.
Twitch said this guy's too ugly. Shrink him.
You know what? I didn't adjust it. I apologize. So any scene we go into from now on, it's probably going to be like that. So I do apologize for that. There we go. Now he's fixed. Yeah. So let's go back to it. Universal title showdown. Roman Reigns relinquished the title, setting up the vacated title match between Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman. And of course, they start off the show as they do just about every week with that Universal title storyline. This time without Roman Reigns. The segment started with Baron Corbin in the middle of the ring with the Universal title. Real quick, did it look good on him or not?
No.
Okay, good. It did not look good to me either. We're agreeing too much today. What the hell's going on with this?
Does that title look good on anybody? I mean, it literally looks like somebody drank Big Red, threw up, and threw gold plates on it.
Yeah, you're kind of right. And GDW, we'll get into that. Corbin talked about the situation involving the Universal title. He was later interrupted by Lesnar and Heyman. And of course, they give their, speeches as good as they do it. They are the best at it.
Yep.
Sorry, I lost my spot.
All right, Alicia Fox.
After that, they brought Strowman out. They were going to test each other. They were about to fight. Corbin stepped in, which was a wrong move for Corbin, as he was later power slammed. Not once, but twice by Strowman, as Lesnar watched. And after the second one, Lesnar gets him lays him out with the F5, ending the segment. Now, my question for you, Magriff, I know a lot of people are not excited about this. That obviously, knowing the result, which we're going to get into later in the show, did this segment sell the Universal title match for you?
It did not get me any more bored with this match than I was ahead of time. To me, it was weird booking. First of all, this back and forth with Baron Corbin, I just didn't get it. I'd rather just have a straight yak, and get in each other's face.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of weird, but I couldn't care less about this match heading into the pay-per-view, and especially after watching this, It didn't build. It didn't take away. It was just kind of, it is what it is.
I don't like the fact that we're agreeing with everything here. We are. I was hoping Drew would get thrown in the mix as well. I would love for a third. If they were going to replace, come up with a replacement and a suitable replacement, or if anything, you could have came up with a fatal 4-way for that spot. So you could have gave 4 people that opportunity for that third spot. So they could have done. Go ahead.
I understand Drew McIntyre. I got a different philosophy where I've got him going now. But if you're going to make it a fatal 4-way and you throw Drew into it, who's the 4th guy? Who are you going to use?
The 4 people? I would throw the IC champion in there. It would work because it goes along with the storyline. Another one, if Lashley wasn't hurt, I would have thrown him in there. I think he was deserving of it.
You're going to throw the IC title holder, Seth Rollins.
They've done it before. They did it.
So he's gonna compete in the U.S. Cup and the.
Oh no! I was talking about that night on Raw.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, that night on Raw. I was gonna say because in the past when Rollins went down with his injury, they had that fatal 4-way, and 2 people that were participants in that fatal 4-way were the U.S. and IC champion during that time. So it has happened before. But no, I'm saying that night on Raw. I'm not talking about the Crown Jewel. Have the fatal 4-way, and then you throw them in the spot for Roman Reigns' spot at Crown Jewel. That was where I was going with it.
Looking at.
What's that? I'm sorry.
We've already seen the backlash. We know. I said, if I'm booking, here's how I book this one.
Okay.
We know the backlash. Nobody wanted to see this Strowman versus Lesnar match.
Nope. No.
But you can't take either one of them out of it at this point.
Nope, you can't.
So you gotta make it a trip. And going with your fatal 4-way, I would have made a fatal 4-way, Seth Rollins included. Drew McIntyre, you could have thrown Bobby Roode and Lashley in there.
Yep.
Obviously, you don't want to put Dean Ambrose in there because we got a different story going.
That's a different story, yep. And you could even have Ambrose come in and cost him that chance further in that storyline.
Exactly. And we get somebody different, even if it's somebody that somehow gets a fluke win of Bobby Roode. But he gets thrown into that triple threat just to break up the boredom that we got, just to have something different. Even if he's just a flying object inside the main event.
All right. So we'll go on with obviously we know what happens. We'll get into that later on. So let's go back to what we were discussing after covering Evolution. 2 words. Follow up. Did they do that? Well, we'll get into that right now. After an historic pay-per-view, the first match involving the women is a 10-woman tag match on both sides. One side, Lita, Trish, Natalya, Sasha, and Bayley going up against the Riot Squad, Mickie James, Alicia Fox. Of course, Lita's team gets the team with Lita, they get the win. Maybe it was a pretty entertaining match. But overall, I'll get in deep analysis. What did you think of the match, McGriff?
I enjoyed the match. I mean, it's not the way I would have gone to follow up, but the match itself was entertaining. It did have its good spots. It had its bad spots. But especially the people that were in this match sure seemed to step their game up compared to what they did the night before.
Now, I agree with you. They did step up the game from the night before. I do agree with you on that. Again, I don't agree with the fact that you agree with, because here's the thing with the women, they clump them into like 6 women, 8 women. This one is a 10 woman. Wouldn't you do something to further a storyline? Wouldn't you do something to get them invested into the women's product again, or well, not again, but more into it? Because just throwing them in a 10-woman tag match, it just seems like a throwaway thing. Like, oh, here's this historic pay-per-view. All right, well, go out there and do a match. Let's not do anything special to follow up on that.
And I agree. And what I would have done special, to be honest, I would have had a one-on-one. Trish Stratus against Mickey James.
That would have been good.
We talk about the nostalgia of stuff. That would have drawn so many eyes just seeing the one-on-one, neither competitor or what they were 10 years ago. But it would have been a lot of fun to watch that match.
And there was emotional investment because people that were fans during that time, they get to see something that was done back then, and you get to see a continuation because knowing that Trish and Lita are going to be around until WrestleMania, there's something you can build off of. And,
absolutely.
And what they do with it, whether if it's a kickoff show or if it's going to be on the main show, that remains to be seen. But yeah, I agree with you. It should have been a one-on-one match and something that would get the fans emotionally invested in. That would have been a perfect example of that. So good choice there. I would have been on board with that. But again, they throw them in a 10-woman tag match, and I just think it was a shitty follow-through to an historic night the night before.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree.
All right. So that was the second thing we wanted to cover, but of course we have to cover basically the elephant in the room. And last week was the big turn. Everyone was expecting it. Was it really going to be Dean Ambrose? And if it was, when was he going to do it? And man, did they pick a perfect time. And now we didn't get to discuss this because we couldn't do the show last week. Obviously, we'll talk about the Rollins calling out Ambrose, trying to get answers to why would he turn on his best friend on the very night that his other best friend, his Shield member, his brother, announced that he was relinquishing the title because he has to battle leukemia. My question to you, Magriff, since we didn't talk about this, what are your feelings on that heel turn by Dean Ambrose?
Oh, I could not wait for this to happen. I mean, the writing was on the wall. Who it was going to be? It was the timing that I wasn't sure about. The timing was so on point. I mean, of all nights to do it, it was the least expected night. And then the way Ambrose sold that heel turn, holy crap. I think everybody in the world knew that heel turn was coming, but everybody in the world was shocked at the same time. The fans helped sell the character too, just because they were so blown away by that turn. It was phenomenal work by both characters. That was one of the best heel turns I can remember.
You know what I put that to the level to? The Rockers. When Shawn Michaels turned on Marty Jannetty, threw him through the barbershop window. It was that emotional investment that I had even then. And you know what? It was the opposite side, though, that time. Because I was like, screw Marty Jannetty. I was a Shawn Michaels guy. But it was that shock, like, holy crap. The great tag team known as the Rockers, they're done. They're done. He turned on him. He turned on his best friend. And when he ripped up that magazine and said, is there a problem with the Rockers? I don't think so. It was like that, wow. Holy crap, they're done. I had that same emotion when I saw that Dirty Deeds thrown on the Rollins. It was like, holy fuck. Because honestly, and you could call me sick. You could call me sick. There was something in me, in my mind, I was thinking, that was all a joke in the beginning. It was a work. And he was going to come out and turn. Something in me for that brief second was like, are they fucking with us? But then I really thought, wait a minute, they do the Connoisseur, and then here they're doing the Susan B. Komen Foundation. I doubt they're going to do that. That would be fucked up. So I was like, okay. Yeah. They're obviously not doing that.
10 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. Now my wife's... Can you give me a second? Can you just chat about that? Hold on.
Yeah, and Get 'em Jones, you're right on point there. I mean, if they were going to pick a night to pull this, that was the best time to get the amount of heat they were going to get. I think he was going to get heat no matter what they did, but just the circumstances of last Monday night set it up to be the perfect head. And it kind of makes you wonder, did WWE pull the trigger before they wanted to? Something tells me they were going to wait on that to Survivor Series or something like that. But when the opportunity presented itself, I think they made a change to go ahead and bring the heel turn on. And we've been saying for a long time that we need a credible heel. I think we might finally have one. Hi, Lily. But it was, to me, it was a fantastic show or a fantastic spot. I'm really excited about where they're at with it. Well, she's mad at you. We were talking. She was telling me about how much she hated Dean Ambrose too.
I'm sorry I had to. I'll just edit that out. Yeah, I just we'll find out what was going on. I got a call about the funeral. That was it. All right, I'm sorry. So where were we?
We were on
the
Dean
Ambrose.
Ambrose thing.
Ambrose, that's right. Yeah, I was going on with that brief second. I thought that's where they were going to go for a brief second. Then I realized the foundations they were part of, so that was out. But when I saw that Dirty Deeds, holy shit, man. It was perfect timing. It was gold. To get heat and legitimate heat, that is the way you do it.
Oh, absolutely.
And obviously you saw that because at first when he did it, you heard people go, oh, you did the right move. But then last week, man, you got boos from him for him. Mm-hmm. They were booing him. It was a perfect move. And it's that kind of emotion, that kind of reaction. It reminds me of old school wrestling, the thing I grew up on and I loved the most. You're seeing that again. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. We got to see that.
Well, and you brought up a good one with the Rockers.
Yeah.
To me, it matched up there with, in my opinion, the greatest heel turn of all time.
Oh, did I swear?
Do what?
I apparently cursed in front of my kid. I actually... Holy crap. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh. But to me, it reminded me of, in my opinion, the greatest heel turn of all time, 1996, Bash at the Beach, when Hogan shows up. You were that emotional into it that it was just kind of like, whoa. Did I just see what I saw?
I agree with you, but I think when Bobby Heenan, he kind of gave it up a little bit when he said, whose side is he on? Believe it or not, I kind of saw it coming when he said that line. I picked up on it. Like when I going on with Impact, I picked up on the line with the Survivor Series 97. So you were getting a glimpse of, they were telling you. So the real smart fans picked up on it quicker. I remember back in the day when I heard that line, I'm like, why is he saying that? Who else would he be on? He's friends with Macho Man. He's cool with Sting. Like, who would he turn on him? And, oh, shit, yeah, he did. Oh, Nick just cursed again. Huh. You know what? My mother-in-law curses around her more than I do. Danny Motor Potter says, to be honest, boy Dean didn't talk was awesome as well. Yeah, because it's just like the old school wrestling weekly shows. It wanted you wanted more, and they gave you more because he didn't respond.
Mm-hmm.
Because after an hour-a-week show, it's like, oh, they'll cut into the end of a match, the main event. If you want to see what happened, tune in next week. And then you go, fuck, I got to wait. Oh, damn it. You know what I mean. F. I got to wait a week to see what happened. And you didn't have YouTube. You didn't have social media to tell you what was going to happen. This was old school wrestling at its best. I love it. I'm a fan.
Absolutely.
So, speaking of that, let's go right. I have a little bit of audio for you guys, and this is courtesy of WWE.com. We are allowed to play this, not show it, as it is part of commentary. So, I just wanted to preface that for the people. Here it is, right here. Oh, and let me, of course, I'm wondering if Dean will talk in Manchester. We'll see.
Last week,
here we go.
I became Raw Tag Team Champion for the third time. I'm also feeling kind of sad because I should be out here celebrating that with my friend, with my partner, with my brother, Dean Ambrose.
Sorry about that. Here we go. I shared the sound.
But that's impossible because Ambrose turned his back on me. He turned his back on the Shield. He turned his back on all of us. And if I'm being honest, that makes me feel a little guilty because I've been wondering all week if maybe that wasn't my fault. You know, maybe what I did 4 years ago, Ambrose just couldn't forgive that. Maybe he held that inside. Maybe he let it fester, and maybe he lashed out. Maybe it was a wrong place, wrong time, wrong person situation. I don't know. I feel frustrated. I feel confused, and the only person who has the answers is Dean Ambrose. The problem with that is Dean Ambrose is the kind of guy that if he doesn't want to be found, he's not gonna be found. So I didn't call, I didn't text, because one thing I did know for sure was that I could find Dean Ambrose here tonight. So Ambrose.
Oh, what the hell happened there? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, damn, I'm sorry. I must have hit a button by accident. My apologies. Yeah, we'll go further into it.
Why I did it. So
Alright.
here, get in this ring, face me like a man, and give me the answer I deserve. Come on, Ambrose. You know what? You know what? At least when I put the knife in your back, I had the decency to stare you in the eye and tell you why I did it.
That's true.
So walk down those stairs. I know you know how to do it. Get in this ring and face me like a man.
And right there, you got Dean Ambrose just staring, puts the mic right up to his mouth, and says nothing. Which is brilliant.
Oh,
brilliant.
Absolutely.
And of course, you hear the crowd saying you sold out. So right there, you got that emotional investment. You got the hatred.
What, man? You really are a cold-hearted.
I hate that.
On the most emotional night in the history of the Shield, you spat on us, on everything we stand for. A night when Roman leaves to battle leukemia, and you make it all about you. Somehow, someway, you make it all about you, Ambrose. You know what? You want the spotlight. You want it so bad. You selfish son of I swear. You want it so bad. Well, you got it. Because I am fixed on you for as long as I live, and I am gonna make your life a living hell.
And there you go.
Hey, you know what, man?
Oh.
Maybe it wasn't just a nickname. You really are a soulless lunatic. All right, you don't want to come down here. You don't want to come down here, then you stay right there. I'll come up there and beat an answer out of you.
And that was the end of that. And, man, we all said in the past that Rollins wasn't the greatest on the mic. And then in the years past, the years going on, can you say that he's gotten better at it?
No, without a shadow of a doubt. He's one of the best on the mic now.
Overall, what do you think of that segment, though? I mean, obviously we have our feelings of it, but is there anything to add than the fact that, I mean, they knocked it out of the park with getting the emotion from the fans?
No, I mean, what could you have done different to sell the characters the way you're leading towards? I mean, this was such a setup where Dean pulls the mic up to his face, doesn't say a word, and the fans start going, "You sold out."
Mm-hmm.
From that point, it is in the best interest of both parties for Dean not to say a word. Just let the fans wonder, and it just gives you that energy of, man, I hate this guy. I know me and you, we love the character. We're real guys.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just so well done, and to me, it put both guys on such a higher level than what they were going into this. It's phenomenal.
All right. Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. I mean, it was old school wrestling at its finest. Everything it did was perfect. What are you complaining about? Come here. I'll fix that for you. Going into the final segment, and then we'll go on to the SmackDown portion of the show. DX and the Brothers of Destruction segment. Okay, I'm going to preface it. I'm a big fan of all guys, not so much of Kane. I was never a big mark for Kane. I always thought his matches were boring, and if I knew he was involved, I wasn't into it. And my dear, please don't touch that. Thank you. So, you go into it. Here, Brothers of Destruction called out DX. DX answered. Triple H arrived without Shawn Michaels, only for HBK to appear behind The Undertaker and hit him with a super kick. DX celebrated. Taker sat up, and that was it. That's the basic. And it was a who gives a fuck segment, in my opinion. Did this segment do anything to build to the match, according from your end? Did you feel there was any build to it?
No, not at all. I mean, yes, it's great seeing them get physical in the ring and all that stuff, but did it get me any more excited or less interested? No, it was a segment. My excitement was from the beginning of this to see HBK back in the ring. Mm-hmm. My excitement at the end of this segment was to see HBK in the ring. Mm-hmm. Came of it. I mean, the segment didn't build at all. You were streaming, D-Ship.
You were streaming, bro. We didn't want to interrupt that.
Jump on the call, amigo.
If you want. Yeah, it did nothing. And again, it's like going back in time. 1998. This is 2018. I've said this since day one, that they rely too much on their legendary talent instead of building on their current talent for so many reasons. Through micromanagement, they're afraid of offending. They don't want to lose sponsors, so they don't let them step out of the lines to try to build their character. This is why you're having trouble selling out the way they were. Mm-hmm. Okay? Hold on. Jesus H, kid. Any other time you're good from me. You're acting up now. Yeah, come here. You want to sit on my lap and we'll talk wrestling? Come here. Come on. My daughter's here. Just chill here. So I'm not, again, you know how I felt about Shawn Michaels. And we talked about it on the show before, and then we talked about it on Friday, how I feel about Shawn Michaels. Stop touching that shit. Go right over there. You're touching everything. It's kind of hard to do it during the day, even though we pulled in a good crowd today. I've not invested into this match. 20 years ago, I would have been. 15, maybe, still. Not 2018, man.
I'm right there with you.
And expectations, it was going to be a okay match. All nostalgia, nothing as far as skill. I was not expecting Shawn Michaels of 2009. I was not expecting Shawn Michaels of 2010. I was expecting 4 guys in their late 40s, early 50s in a match. It's basically Ric Flair with Batista. That's what
you got it.
That sounds like TNA did to go under for a while. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, they had Sting. Hold on a second. There you go. That works. Any other time. She don't act up. She's like a mother. They pick the worst times to act or to do anything. You mean with Hogan, Eric, Dixie did the TNA? Pretty much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is pretty much not going to be a podcast. There's too many problems. So we'll put another episode on at some point. Anything to add to that before we go to the SmackDown side?
No, I mean, I really didn't have anything for that segment. It was what it is. Hey, cool, they're back in the ring. Woohoo.
Yep. All right, so from the whole thing, from 1 to 5, how would you rate Raw?
Believe it or not, a 3.5.
Really?
Mainly based off of Rollins, Ambrose was such a good deal, and there were some good spot matches in between.
What's up, great one?
I would have given it about a 3, but it gets a 0.5 bonus because they finally did something to walk with Elias.
We didn't cover that too much. Yeah, they did put him in a match, and of course he got the win. And all right, yeah, I agree with that. But actually, you put Jinder Mahal. I would say about a 3. DX segment, I didn't like what they did with the women's match. It could be just being picky. Hold on. Stop. Don't press that button. The whole 4 hours on Friday, nothing like that. Just saying. You go ahead, act up. Take her out. Take her out. Put her color. Oh, good Lord. You need a nap. That's what you need. You're tired. Go lay down with that. Set the thing up here. Good Lord. You want to cut a promo? Oh, boy. All right. Let's move on to SmackDown. I'm sorry.
You're good. While you play the intro, I'm going to go grab a drink real quick.
Yeah, it's a clusterfuck. And I'll set this up. I'm sorry, guys. Get her to bed. Yeah, she... Bop. Oh, she wants a juice. Oh, Jesus. And we just get her to bed. Oh, I obviously shouldn't be giving her the nap. Hold on a second. Hold on. We're going to go. I'll be right back.
No problem.
No, I heard, I saw that. Normally, bro, I can do a podcast, but we couldn't do it Saturday night. My wife's grandmother passed away, so with everything this weekend, it was hard to do it. We normally do it Saturday nights, and that's why it's the best time to do it. Even though I'm seeing there's a good crowd on this, so I might rethink this. I'll just put something. I might knock her out with something. I'll put something in her. No, I can't say that. That's fucked up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do not advocate over-medicating any kind of children of any sorts. Thanks for tuning in.
Daddy duties do come first, yeah, but no, my kid, my kid acts up at the worst times. And you know what's sad is that my 35-year-old wife does the same thing. Just as bad as a damn kid.
I'll plead the fifth.
Oh, you can plead the fifth. I'll say it. And I have said it to her. And she gets pissed, and you know what? She gets over it pretty damn quick anyway.
Mine watches the replay, so I plead the fifth.
Okay, well, you can plead the fifth. I'm not. Because I've actually told her, so was you going to get pissed at something I already said to her? All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it right away. All right, SmackDown. Now, this ain't gonna be a podcast now because this would be too much fucking editing, and I gotta watch my mouth. I'm like, get out there. Sorry, don't say it. All right, SmackDown. Let's rebound. Ready? Hold on. You know what? Before we get into this, hold on. Can I do this real quick? Is this?
You got to do it. Got to do it.
Shanti. All right, I feel better. I
hope so. We may have to take a few Shanti breaks here and there.
I'm good. I'm at inner peace.
Just make sure you've got that saved when we get to Crown Jewel.
Okay.
You're going to need it.
Yes, inner peace. They start off the show with Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles. AJ Styles hits the ring to kick off the this past week's show, drawing a big ovation from the fans. Wasted no time calling out his Crown Jewel opponent, Daniel, to the ring. Woosah, exactly. Bryan came in and admitted that while he respects Styles as a wrestler and a man, he does not see any of those things when he looks at the Phenomenal One right now, calling him out on that. Wow. He sees only the WWE champion, which is since he was forced to the sidelines because of injury. And then Styles responded, admitting last week's Pele kick was not an accident. It was on purpose, and he said he looks forward to doing it again Friday. Bryan answered, saying he would love to hit Styles on purpose right now, to which Styles offered to put the title on the line. Geez, I wonder why. Did someone refuse to go to Saudi Arabia? Well, let's finish off the segment and I'll get your thoughts on that. Commissioner Shane McMahon then appeared after months of not being on there. And, well, he's been around for a couple of weeks, but he made the match official, putting the title on the line to start the show. My question to you is, what are your thoughts on Daniel Bryan not competing at Crown Jewel?
Oh, man. I have a hard time with this one because, number one, first of all, you're under contract.
Yep.
So if you're told to be somewhere, you should be there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, Vince McMahon has proved in the past that should situations come, go or not, he's been open to let you know if this is against something or it's something that offends you, you do not have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I don't have a huge issue with it. I actually gain more respect for Daniel Bryan the way he did not run to tabloids or anything else. He let the company know he did not want to be involved and then worked with the company and continued to sell that this match was happening on Friday until AJ mentioned, let's do this tonight. So hats off to the way he handled it. But the other side of me is going, yeah, but you are under contract.
I'm going as far as you're under contract. There's been more controversial shows in the past. Look at WCW doing a show in North Korea.
I agree.
I mean, there's been spots where it's been done before. My thing is, yeah, I understand a guy was executed at over here is called freedom of speech. Over there, it isn't. And I know, yeah, we go over there and it's like, oh, in a way they're trying to be the moral compass. Like here, the progression with women and all this. I understand. We're just two different lifestyles, okay? But it sucks what's happened to him. But I honestly agree with John Cena backing out the way he did. He's got a gig on the Today Show. He has a children's book. It could hurt him more because come on, who's in the ring every week and who isn't in the ring every week? That's my first question. And we know the answers to that. What does Daniel Bryan have to lose if he was to... And I understand as far as how he feels about it. But what does he have to lose if he was?
Well, to me, it goes kind of hand in hand. I mean, he is on his own show as well. I mean, he's nowhere out there like John Cena is. It's not even close. But the character he is in largely who Daniel Bryan is in real life.
Yeah.
He stands up for his beliefs. And to me, I get so much respect for him.
I do.
Because he doesn't change. This is who I am. Take it or leave it. And again, I guess to me it was a respect deal. The way he said, hey, I can't do this. It's something I am completely against. But I'm going to continue to do things by telling everybody we're having this match Friday and I can't wait, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So the way he did the storyline and worked it with it, I had no problem with. But there is part of me that I would much rather see that match on a big pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, I get it. And what and IWA says, what do you have to win or lose? It's a pride thing. I know, but there were plenty of things. No matter where you work, you may agree or disagree. Where I work, they're trying to give out politically. That's something I don't believe in. But I may not agree with it. I may go against it. Again, I respect for what he did. Just like the people that didn't want to get involved with 9/11. I said the SmackDown after 9/11, I agree with that. We talked about that. Mm-hmm. Okay? I agree with it. Okay? I'm just saying, as far, like, this was a promoted match. It's a double-edged sword. No matter how you answer this, it's like one way is wrong and the other way is wrong. Wrong meaning morally. The other way, you're hurting the company. That's been because it was a promoted match.
Well, let me bring it up this way. With your job,
yeah.
If something is not safe at work, are you able to stop the job, say, hold it, we got to figure this out before we can continue?
Me personally, no. I'm in a member of management, but
sure,
bottom of the totem pole, so no effing way.
Okay. Now, again, I don't get into what I do for a living on air, but
yeah,
for all these people that I fight for, that's the way it is. If there's a safety concern, they have what's called the red card. You pull up the red card, it stops the job completely until something's figured out. Safety's the big issue there. This is no different, to be honest. Daniel Bryan, and I can't speak for him. I don't know if it was safety that was the issue, if it's something he just disagrees with. I can't speak for that.
I don't think it was safety. I don't think it was.
I don't either. I think it was just something he believes in.
Yeah.
But that is something we have to acknowledge, that
yeah.
If it is a safety concern for somebody, you can always bring that to attention. So, like I said, I can't speak for Daniel Bryan. I don't know what his particular issue with it is. And to be honest, we probably won't know knowing Daniel Bryan.
Mm-mm.
But, and that's why I'm kind of on the fence. I agree. He's under contract. He should perform at these events.
Yeah.
But at the same time, especially in what I do, if you've done this one time saying you did not have to do this certain event, September 11th, or in several since then, you've set a precedence that is going forward going to be allowed.
That is a good point. That is a very good point. And if he does get reprimanded for it, it does go against what he did back in 2001. You know what? That is a valid point that you made right there. And something.
Just throwing this out there, Daniel Bryan, if you get reprimanded, I'll represent you, dude.
Well, there you go. This bar's been set. Clip this and send this off to him, okay? All right. We'll go beyond that because, I mean, there's no right answer to it. It's all out of opinion, and everyone's allowed to their opinion. That is the message out of all this, too. Everyone's allowed their opinion. This isn't a dictatorship. In this country, you do have freedom of speech. So, and I do commend him on that. He stood up for what he believed in. That's one thing I'll say completely. Mm-hmm. Now, if it's because of backlash from what happened the last time we were there, along with what happened on this one, again, we're not going to find out. I guess we could probably go into this more if we were to find out the answer, and we aren't going to find out the answer anytime soon. No. So let's go on with this. We'll leave that aside. How did you feel that creative handled this, though? Because the initial reports. I'm sorry. Let me get this out before
Go ahead.
The initial reports was that they were going to do it in the performance center with green screen to make it look like they were there. That would have been in my opinion.
Oh,
But
that would have been a massive blowback screw up.
Oh, God.
Man.
So, and that's no joke. That's what they were thinking of doing. That was one of the contingency plans. How did you think they handled this, though?
I was impressed by them. I understand it's a rush decision, how you're going to do things. So I was highly impressed that they put something believable together.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said a little bit ago, I was more impressed with Daniel Bryan that he sold it the way he did.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't complain. I completely get people were going to be upset about it. It's rushed, blah, blah, blah. But they did the best they could with what they had to work with, especially if they were going to go a different route.
Yeah, and eventually they did go with a different route, which we may get into that we agree or disagree with what they did, but it is what it is. Yeah, despite the fact that, yeah, they made it into a match on SmackDown, you're not going to get that pay-per-view quality match because you're going to have commercial interruptions, and that is a downfall to any big match. Unless if you're allowed to do one long big segment, it's going to hurt you. And even though they do this new thing where they do the split screen with the commercial on the bottom right, the match on the top left, it still takes away that feeling. I mean, you're not getting everything because you got that, oh, here's the keys. Look at this product real quick. Forget about this match. Hold on. Here you go. Here. It still takes away from the match. So, as far as that, I think we're robbed of a potential 5-star match. Match of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Hold on. I'm sorry, Mike. What's the matter? You okay? Oh, okay. All right, I'll get you in a second. Just sit there. You're good. You're okay. I don't know what you're freaking out for. Yeah, go back to what I was saying. You're not going to get that big match that you would normally get on a pay-per-view. I thought it was a good match, but what did you think of the match overall? Like,
I love the match.
do you feel it could have been better, though?
Oh, absolutely, and it will be. This is not a dead feud. This
hoping.
is put on the back burner for a
Quite some-
while,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, probably will be.
But this match for a live episode of SmackDown, are you freaking kidding me? This is what I get to see, and I cannot get through commercials fast enough to get back to it. It was a good match. I mean, tore the house down. I'm highly impressed. These guys work better together than I expected.
You saw, well, they did go against each other, Ring of Honor, back in the day, and tore it then. And that was in Philadelphia. No, I agree. It was a great match. The thing was, I felt like it was a lot was taken away because you had commercial breaks. It was on TV. It wasn't pay-per-view. I felt like you probably took a 4-star match or a 5-star match and made it to a 4. That's how I feel about that. But
And I can agree to that.
okay, well, here, my last question on that, and we'll move on. Because the one thing I've never been a fan, even though this was a great match, but I've never been a fan of a face versus face match. But I've always been a fan of a heel on heel because it's a different mindset. If it was you, what would you rather see if you're a part of booking? Would you go with something like this, or would you go with a heel on heel?
It's so hard for me to say that because it depends on what I'm booking. It changes with every storyline. I enjoyed this face versus face, but majority of the time, I'd rather see a heel versus heel. But you do have these occasions, especially when it's a title run. You've got Seth Rollins against AJ Styles trying to get the world title or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be huge names for face versus face. Heel versus heel could be somebody down the card, somebody just building, whatever it is. So I enjoy heel versus heel more.
Yeah.
But there are spots for these face versus face.
Because well, you seen the first one. I remember the first one was Warrior Hogan, WrestleMania 6.
Great. Yeah, and it's great.
And I was a Warrior. I came in with the tassels, the face paint, had a WrestleMania viewing party with my friends during that time. Hold on a second. For the love of God, kid. Any other time. You're good for me. There you go.
4-star match is still better than half the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. That's no joke.
Yeah, no, my point is, IWA, I would have loved to seen the pay-per-view. I would love to see the pay-per-view match. Because you're going to get a good match no matter what. I thought we were robbed of a 5-star pay-per-view match. That's what I'm saying. But you're right. It was better than most of the matches on that card. Moving along. Trying to, at least.
Just to the point I talked to you about the other day, for everybody in the chat room. This event, SmackDown Live, was held in Atlanta, Georgia. And it's one of the few times we saw the title defended live on cable TV. The last time that was really done, that is of big relevance, what was that, 1998?
July 6, 98, Hogan and Goldberg.
Hogan and Goldberg, Atlanta, Georgia. Just kind of funny to me that the same city held that kind of deal again, and the hometown boys win both times.
Yep. And not only that, added a first major promotion. Who gave AJ Styles the push and brought him in?
WCW.
Yep, towards the end. Yeah, hold on, maybe. I agree. It should have been a pay-per-view match, but I'm still happy it happened. Yeah, I'm still happy it happened. I just felt like we were robbed of. It could have been a match like could have took over Okada, Omega match. Like it could have been a WWE match that could have been the #1 match of the year, and I felt we were robbed of that. That was my point.
And here's my take, and I think I'm different than 99% of the people. I would rather it be this way, just to postpone the story, to give me a bigger stage, WrestleMania, something like that. But to let these guys get in the ring and start working out the kinks in some of these smaller situations. That way, when we say WrestleMania, I mean, we think it's going to be Bryan against Miz come that time. But a big pay-per-view, Royal Rumble, for example, to have Daniel Bryan versus AJ, all kinks worked out, and then we have we're talking about a 5-star, but maybe we get a 6-star out of that.
Oh, Meltzer 6-star, nice. Going on with your point, I'm going to tell you right now, I think he might be reprimanded, though. And what I was saying with Bryan and Miz, I don't think it's going to happen now. That's my feeling. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I have a feeling that the wet dream I have of them two main eventing for the World WWE Championship at WrestleMania 35 in New York, I feel it's not going to happen now. And it's upsetting.
Well, first of all, they weren't going to main event. The Universal title will be the main event,
part
no
of
matter who it is. But
them as the title match. Let me rephrase that. Them for the title.
Right.
For SmackDown. And, yeah, I still find it funny that the company title is not the main fucking event. So now the Royal Rumble winner is coming from SmackDown, right? That's what it's leaning towards. Because we could be wrong. It could be Drew McIntyre that wins.
That's not going to surprise me. That would actually be a great storyline. Yeah. But also keep in mind Braun Strowman.
Yeah, they're also promoting Strowman, McIntyre defending for the DC episode of Raw the night after WrestleMania. So they're already telling people through advertising, yes, card subject, it could change. I know. I understand that. But you know what? There's been a lot of things that they've been sending advertisements through emails. Hey, you can buy these tickets. And it's like, what the fuck? You just told me to finish.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I avoid certain websites, certain posts, so I don't see that. I'm an old school guy. I don't want to know. You may know, and you people could be hearing some of the things I say, like, Jesus Christ, don't you read things? No, there's some things I don't read. Because I'm an old school fan.
Get 'em Jones saying we don't have a #1 contender for AJ.
And that could change just like that.
Yeah, and here's my thinking on that. I don't think we see AJ in the title scene at WrestleMania. I honestly believe there's going to be some one-off deal to where he works with HBK or something like that. I know everybody's saying HBK against Taker, but I'm going to advocate for that as much as I can so WWE does the right thing with HBK.
And the reason I say he's going to... Yeah, you're right. I totally agree. He's not going to have the title for that. The reason I say that he's dropping the title at Rumble is the day of Rumble. What's the record? 434, right? For the modern era, if you want to discredit Brock Lesnar, which you should, because he defended it 10 times in that time of 500 days. If you were to keep the title on him, Royal Rumble, ladies and gentlemen, day 435, he would do it, and he would drop the title that day, and it would count as the new record holder.
But now that your WrestleMania match is being blown up, so who's he dropping the title to, and who do you got the 2 participants in WrestleMania?
Miz, obviously. At this point, Joe. And you turn Joe face for this one, because I like this work as a face he had that brief time in TNA when he was the face. I actually like this work as that, and we can see how he is mean. I would love him and Miz. I think they would do an incredible match. You guys could go, oh, you're freaking crazy. I would like to see Samoa Joe come out on top of WrestleMania if you're not going to go with Bryan. But I don't know. A lot of things are leaning that it's not going to happen, but we could be wrong. At least by then, they'll probably forgive him.
And here's my deal, and I want everybody to laugh at me in the chat for this one, and you will out loud. I'm in the same boat with you. I think The Miz takes the title at Royal Rumble.
Yep.
But the guy to keep your eyes on coming up in the next several months, keep an eye on Almas. I would not be one bit surprised to see Almas against The Miz for the WWE title come WrestleMania.
That would be awesome to see. He's an incredible wrestler. Now, given that he hasn't been on a lot, he was battling a little bit of an injury, so you're not seeing him so much. He is doing some house shows, not much. But they said he's going to go full-blown within the next week, so you'll see him more on TV again. But I hope they book it right, and yeah, that could be a good possibility. I could believe that one, too. But who would be the face on that one if you got him and Miz? Would you turn Miz? Or are you going to have your heel on heel?
It's got to be Almas. Almas would have to turn face. Because, I don't know. At this point, I think Miz can do anything.
He's an in-betweener anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you could flip Miz to face, but he is so over as a heel right now. I would flip Almas.
All right. I think he has a lot more to do. I like him more as a heel. That's me. But no, I respect your opinion on that. Like as far as switching, turning him face. But we don't know. We don't know where they're gonna go. We might get the Bryan Miz. By then, Vince and all them could forgive him for what happened. Because as we know, with anyone on social media, they get over it. The same people that were bitching about this show are on to something else, complaining about, whatever the Orange Man in DC is doing today. I mean, whatever. I call him that because that's the joke. Haha, I know. Anyways, because a lot of people that were complaining about that you seen a lot of their tweets, they were bitching politically. It's like, okay, we got it, okay. This is why I hate politics that get mixed in with wrestling. This is it. This is one thing I hate the most. I love my wrestling to escape this bullshit. And I'm sure anyone that watches professional wrestling escapes the bullshit by watching this product because it's something that's not involving the craziness going on out there. But, again, we can see what happens.
Well, and for those of y'all that haven't tuned in and listened to us a few times, especially over the Saudi Arabia deal, it's not what we want this show to be about.
Nope.
Wrestling. Now, unfortunately, in this circumstance, the two worlds combined, and we have to address it.
Yeah. And taking the views from people that are pretty much centrist as much as like mine's a libertarian point of view, and whoever if he wants point of view, which is you take it issue by issue on which side that you agree more on, and then it's not handpicking. I think that's just the way it should be, but. Yeah, this is one of those instances where politics goes into wrestling. I don't like it because, I mean, we know it's supposed to be reality based, but this is a whole different thing, and how divisive it can be. Because if you throw one side of an opinion, the people that don't agree with you, it causes a war. This was just based out of a bad situation, And I don't know how we got. I guess we. It's funny that we're back into this, but let's just.
Well, I meant to bring it up a little bit ago, so I wanted to make sure because I know some of the people haven't heard us talk about it, and I just want people to understand this is not what this show is.
No.
But
No.
give an explanation of why it is this time.
We talk about wrestling, and we throw a couple of dick jokes here and there. Me.
I think you just lost your mic.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you, but I'm pretty sure it's coming through your desktop.
Okay. Well, let's find out. I said the show is based out of, we throw a few dick jokes here and there, and then we, a little bit of humor, and then we talk about wrestling. So let's go on. All right, how would you rate SmackDown 1 to 5?
What was that?
How would you rate SmackDown from 1 to 5?
1 to 5. I'll give it a 2.5 just because the rest of the show was really crap outside of that one match. Well, Becky's Lynch promo was really good, but let's go with 3 then.
Oh, we did skip that. Oh, my God. We did skip that. Yeah, I give it a 3 because of that, too. And I'm sorry. This one is really, throwing me off. Man, is this a cluster.
Got everybody in the chat, let us know if you can hear EJ coming through on y'all's end.
I hope so. It's registering here. Properties? Yeah. And I'm sorry about that. Jesus, this is like a cluster. It's hard to do so because you got to keep your attention on her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he hears me. All right. Awesome. Thank you also for
okay, good deal.
For everyone that's in here, we do apologize. Normally, she acts more... She's more behaved than what she's been. Like, we did the 4-hour show, and she was fine the whole time. You would see that I only had to go upstairs once. They had changed her midway through. But she wants to act up, of course. But again, everyone that's in here, thank you for tuning in. This was a cluster. It went out and then came back in. Okay, thank you. Let's go in there real quick to the World Cup. Let's not try to go too deep because we've been in this for a while, and this just been a disastrous show, in my opinion.
It's a good show. It's real life.
Yeah, it is. All right, so we're going to cover a few things. Obviously, you got the title matches. You got the World Cup tournament. Of course, here we go. You got the World Cup tournament. You got Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, The Miz, Jeff Hardy, Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley. 8 men. Who was going to come out on top? We'll go right into it right now. We got Rey that beat Orton. Then The Miz beat Hardy. Rollins beat Lashley. And Ziggler beat Angle. And then you go into the semifinals. Pardon me. Miz beat Mysterio. Ziggler beat Rollins. Then you got your finals. Miz versus Ziggler. Now, going into that match, what were your feelings? Because we were all shocked by the results, though. But I have a couple questions that will involve that later. Going into that match, what were your feelings? Like, what do you even expect in that match to be the finals?
I honestly, I was not surprised by the two that went into this match. We've been saying it for a long time here that we think Miz has been one of the hottest people on the roster for a year and a half now.
Mm-hmm.
And Ziggler has really, even though he's always been that workhorse, awesome guy, he stepped up his game so much in the past 6 months. So I was generally excited the route they went. I think everybody expected Rollins to be this big guy in this thing. But I was impressed. I was excited for this matchup.
Yeah, I was like I said, I changed my opinion about Ziggler going back a few months ago, and I ate my word. I ate my words. I mean, foot was in the mouth. From my initial remarks about him till now, he completely changed my mind. With the rivalry with Seth Rollins for the IC title. Kurt Angle, I mean, I see something developing going into WrestleMania. You got two very accomplished collegiate amateur wrestlers going at it in the professional wrestling atmosphere. And no better way. I think they planted a seed of a potential WrestleMania match. Right now, obviously, you're seeing that it's probably going to be Baron Corbin, Angle, in the Survivor Series match, probably for the control with Raw. So that's what you're seeing right now. But I think after that, I think even if it would have been the Rumble, which I doubt it, I think a match like that would have to be a WrestleMania match. I'm excited to see that. I think they planted a seed of a potential match. I was very entertained by that match. But, and in The Miz, not surprised with him getting there. At first, I thought it was going to be Ray and Angle. But you can never count out The Miz. And that's what I love about The Miz. All right, so going along, though, we're going to the finals. And early on in the match, apparently The Miz hurt his leg. He hurt his leg. He was out of ring, and of course, I knew it was a work from the start when he was like, oh, I've never been injured. But the whole time of my career, never been injured. And they were going to call it and give it to Ziggler, and then Shane stepped in for The Miz and competed. And Shane beat Ziggler with the Van Terminator to become the best in the world. My first question for you is, what the fuck? 5 question marks.
Quit. I just quit. No. I don't freaking get it. This made absolutely no sense, and it ruined this entire pay-per-view. Not that there was a whole lot to get excited for in this pay-per-view, but it was just one of those moments of, what the crap are you doing, guys? This is we've done on SmackDown over being the better writing. This is the route we're going to go.
Yeah. And also, I understand what you were saying. I'm sorry, you broke out there. Were you finished?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You broke out there. I apologize. I read that too. That the plan was to turn Shane heel. I understand, but there could have been other ways. That was a horrific fucking way to do that. There's so many ways.
Disaster.
You could have. I mean, he could be a part of it. I would love to see a part 2 of him and Styles for a match. And you could have him cost him the title. And be like, hey. Oh, well, you beat me before WrestleMania, and then he never got over it. It could have been something as simple as that. But that way, come on. Because you take guys, 8 guys that were most of them were in WWE in 2005. That's what the tournament was based out of. You took all these guys that worked their ass off the whole night. It was a good show. And what did you do? You shit on them. I threw jelly. You threw shit at me. That's what I got from that.
Yeah, and Two Belts has got a great thing in here saying it'd be awesome Shane turns and works with The Miz. I completely agree with that. I think that would be phenomenal. It's just the way they did this. It just made no sense. There's so many ways to do that. Have Shane help Miz all of a sudden get the title. So many things you could have done.
Oh, no, you could have had him beat Ziggler, but that wouldn't have done anything because Ziggler's not over like that. He's kind of a heel. But it could have planted a seed like, okay. Hold on. Jesus H. Stop it. This kid. You could have had, like, later on, like, okay, since I replaced you, blah, 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 I'll give you a title shot at the Rumble. Or actually, yeah, and then that's when, boom. You could have had him turn then, costing AJ Styles the title, giving it to The Miz, and there you go. And it could have been that alliance thing. This is my champion. This is your champion for SmackDown. You could have done it that way. I agree with you. That giving him the title, like helping him, that would have done it. But doing it in the matter like that, I just didn't get it. What the hell? Can you excuse me for a second? I gotta do this. Do we need this? Alright, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's just there was nothing to gain from doing what they did.
No.
I don't understand it. If you were bound determined to have the Miz hurt, you should somebody from outside the U.S. compete in the World Cup and bring out Shinsuke or Almas, somebody to replace him. But it just made no sense whatsoever.
All right. Well, we know we didn't like the ending of the tournament, and it is what it is. But there's some good and things that we did like about the tournament. So let's get right into that. Out of all the matches, there were 7 total matches. Which one did you feel was the best one in the tournament?
Is it any surprise? The 2 guys that have faced off more than anybody as of late, Ziggler against McIntyre, or I'm sorry, Ziggler against Rollins, with Ziggler actually coming out on top. It was a great match, one of their better matches they've had. Not the best, but it was, to me, hands down, the best of the tournament.
I liked that match. Totally, I agree with it. That was a great match. But I really liked Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio. I was a big fan of that match. It had a 1 botch from Rey, but I think it was more so on Orton's side. But other than that, I thought it was a pretty good match, and I think that was the one that started off the show, if I'm correct.
Warrior Soul, that is so good.
Gotta be honest, guys. When Shane said it's not going down like this, I was waiting for Hogan's music. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. No. That would have...
priceless, though.
It's bad enough you killed Ziggler with that. You killed Ziggler.
Yeah, you did.
With that. That would have really killed Ziggler. A 65-year-old man. Talk about relying on your legends. Holy shit. Oh.
Yeah, but...
I would have stopped watching WWE at that point.
It could have just been nostalgia stuff going on there, because going into the event, we had already made fun of the World Cup. I mean, it was a laughing stock. It was a U.S. Cup. You didn't have anybody... I mean, you've got a bunch of relevant guys in there.
Yeah.
But we should have seen guys like Balor. We should have seen guys like Shinsuke, Almas.
Yep. Real
Rusev.
World Cup. Yep. Oh, no, Rusev's from L.A. He's not from where they say he is.
Shh. Hey, don't say that.
Oh, shit, that was kayfabe. I'm sorry. Oh, if you look at the guy's Twitter, he gives it away anyway. He bitches about the Lakers all the time.
But with all that being said, so at that point, seeing Hogan come out, honestly, just would have made it a whole gimmick thing and a thing of the past.
And it really killed Ziggler. Ziggler would just stick to your acting and comedy, because as far as being a professional wrestler, at least in the WWE, you were done if you lost to Hulk Hogan at 60. A man at 65. It can't be any more embarrassing than that. All right. So we got our best matches. Which one? I guess we're probably going to agree on this one. Out of the 7 matches, which ending surprised you the most?
I mean, the easy way to go is Shane getting involved, obviously. This is kind of tough for me.
Can I give you mine? Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say Ziggler. An Angle.
And that's fair. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Sorry. I'm stepping all over you. Go ahead.
No, I'm thinking out loud here, trying to think of any other one that would have really shocked me, but no, you're probably right. Ziggler over Angle. I really had Angle winning this whole thing, so that did surprise me. What's up, 13200?
What's up, man? This is one thing I wanted to get out. D-Shep actually called that, because when we were watching the show, he's like, Angle's not going to get it out of the first round. That's exactly what he said. And I'm like, how do you say that? And he's like, you're not going to give the guy time to heal after his first match to go on to another one? The fact that he had him so late, I was like, you know, that's good thinking. And yeah, was he right? Because he lost. He got knocked out. But you know what? I think it was good for him because he got Ziggler over with that match. Because as a legend, that's what you're supposed to do. You get the current talent. You give them, like, as you're up on the top of the mountain, you put your hand down and grab the next person. It's a passing of the torch. And as far as a collegiate wrestler and what he has accomplished, he's reaching out and bringing up a guy with a similar background. And
one
getting
of
him
the
over.
best workhorses in the WWE.
Yeah, he is. So yeah, I'm surprised by the end of that match the most. And the final question is, we already discussed this, was what was our take? Oh, actually, overall, after the finals, knowing the finals, what was your take on the World Cup tournament?
Scratch it and try to figure out how to do this better. Make it a World Cup, not a U.S. Cup.
All right. I agree with you on that. All right, let's move along. And again, I do apologize. And everyone that came in here, we do thank you so much. We actually had a good crowd today. And it makes me want to think of a time switch, but we'll get into that. I do. We had a lit crowd today, lit chat. We do appreciate it, and we thank you so much for tuning in, despite the clusterfuck, because my kid wants to act up today. Yeah, I love you, though. Yeah, this kid. Anyways, we're going to move along to the title matches. We got the, and then, of course, the main event. First one is the Hello, honey. WWE Championship with AJ Styles and now Samoa Joe.
Hello.
In the match, basically, it was a pretty good match, but Styles beat Joe with a phenomenal forearm. Yes, honey. I got to ask you this. What did you think of the match?
I loved the match. This was, to me, one of the best matches these two have put on, not just in WWE, all over the globe. This was such a good match, and you could just see, again, we know that, but it was just, instead of the whole storyline to everything, it was more of just, let's kick the crap out of each other and get to it. Fantastic match.
Okay, I kind of was with you, but overall, best match ever? I have
I'm
to.
not saying the best match ever.
I was going to say the Ring of Honor match was incredible.
No, I'm saying, but it is one of their top one. It's hands down the best one in WWE.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, WWE without a doubt. My thing is that it was a clean finish, and right now you just buried Joe. You buried Joe. 13,200. Thanks for the host. You buried Joe creatively, because how can you go any further with that storyline now?
You can't.
You just got two clean finishes from Styles over on Joe, and there you go. That's it. It's done.
No, the only way Joe should get back in contention if he is that guy that wins Royal Rumble.
That's the only way. Yeah, you can't. And he could go on back, and go with the Wendy thing, and getting personal with him again. Yeah, that could be the only way. Because as far as they kind of threw him in there because of what happened with Brian, stepping away. They had to put a match that was presented that there was going to be a title match. Of course, yeah, you had a great match, but I could assume that Joe's going to be dead for a while as far as getting a shot for the title.
Absolutely.
All right. Now let's get into the part that's probably going to set everyone in chat off, including myself and possibly my co-host here. The Universal title match. Lily, stop crying. Jesus, kid. Sorry. Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman for the vacated Universal Championship. I don't know if I can even show any kind of enthusiasm. After knowing what happened. Brock Lesnar wins with not one, not two, not three, but 4 F5s. And, of course, he gets the victory. And your new Universal Champion, 2-time champion, Brock Lesnar. What the fuck? Don't repeat that, honey. I'm sorry.
It's one of those, I got nothing. You know what I mean? It's just like, are you kidding me?
Why are you going to give him the title again? Why? Because of UFC, when they attract a different audience. You're going to attract that audience when you go to Fox. When you're going to bring in more of the younger talent, younger audience, maybe older audience that, doesn't have cable. This is 2018. I'll be shocked if anyone doesn't. But, I mean, you're going to attract an audience no matter what. There's ways you can do it. But this way, because of the UFC, I'm sorry, bringing the UFC for the most part, that's a whole nother subject. I'm not a big fan of it. I feel like it's kind of killing it. And it was Vince's call. I know what it was.
Oh, absolutely.
The original plans were he was going to retain, but he wasn't keen. Okay. He wasn't keen on Roman versus Styles. But he was going to go out. He wanted on the top guy. Yeah, I know. But this is your problem, Awesome. Who could you build to be the top guy when you have to micromanage your talent? And you see there's a little less on the NXT end, where they give them a little, they let go a little bit of that leash and let them do what they need to do to get over on the crowd. Or get heat. Because look at Ciampa and what he does in his social media. Look at what they do there compared to the main roster. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Or look at Becky Lynch, what she's doing on social media. Calling out Seth Rollins yesterday was fantastic.
Intergender match, that would be fun to watch. I don't know if it would be close at all, but it is awesome. It is awesome. Yeah, exactly. What she's doing is perfect. What Ciampa's doing is perfect. That's the way you use social media. But to give it to your top guy, I got it. Okay. But we came up with a scenario earlier where you could say, okay, there were 3 spots. Martian 19, thank you for the host. There were 3 spots. Now we're down to 2. You could do a fatal 4-way to go for that 3rd spot. And you could have threw someone in there that could have been worthy enough to take that title for now. My opinion, Drew McIntyre. That was it. In my opinion. Anyone else could disagree with what I say. Is there anyone that you could feel could take that spot and then take the title right now?
And to me, that's the problem we have on Raw. You've got the 2, in my opinion, top guys now in a feud against each other because one went heel. So who do you have to face Brock Lesnar?
No one.
You run into nothing. I mean, maybe all of a sudden you elevate Lashley, but we're getting the same freaking thing. It's got to be McIntyre. That has to be the one.
And he is a great talent. Perfect wrestler. He has everything. He has the speed. He has the power. He's the most believable guy that could beat Brock Lesnar.
Well, and
beat both of them in a triple threat. Thank you.
Yeah, and you know my feelings on McIntyre. I'm huge on him.
Yeah, so am I.
I know it's early in his main roster, and they have a tendency of building up to this, but this guy should become the face of Raw starting very soon, going forward all the way to the very end.
Someone put Dean. Dean beating Lesnar? Yeah, WrestleMania 32 will tell you different. No matter what he tried, Brock Lesnar just dominated him. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Please, sweetheart. Thank you. You got all these toys down here, and you want to mess with my stuff. God, can Daddy have any of his own stuff?
And I do agree that Seth could be the answer, Martian, but he's tied up in a storyline with Dean, so we can't.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Use him right now.
And
but going forward, yes, absolutely, it's somebody that is definitely an option. It needs to be a Seth versus McIntyre for the Universal title at some point. I think that should be our WrestleMania main event for the Universal title. That
would be good because then in that feud you could the feud going in before WrestleMania with Dean and Seth. Obviously, Dean getting the title back, setting up for him to get the push. That could be it, but given what they're promoting already, it's going to be a feud between Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman. That's what they're advertising already for the Raw after WrestleMania. But the only believable character could be him, meaning Drew. No, because they haven't really built anyone that could be believable. And then you got a guy on your NXT level that said, "I'll do it. I could take him out." Matt Riddle. Okay, you just have one match, bro. Relax. You're not going to get called up right away. I was thoroughly impressed with your match, but yeah, I don't think... Honestly, I don't want to wait the year and a half for you to come through the NXT system, make your way up, and then beat him for the title. I don't think anyone in this chat, in the WWE universe, and especially the host of this show, I think we agree. I think I'm speaking for all of us here that we do not want to see another 500-day reign from a guy that doesn't defend it on a monthly basis. It doesn't even have to be a monthly basis. The guy defended it 10 times in a matter of 500 days. And what that means, that is 50 days in between each title defense. There is a rule called the 30-day rule, which if they would use that on anyone else, people would be like, well, what about this guy? Why? How come he could go as long as he can? You're setting a thing up that damaged that rule, damaged the title, because not only the guy you beat before was a part-timer and the most overrated wrestler in my opinion, Goldberg, and then you give it to Lesnar. He has it for 500 days, did what he did, and then you give it back to him just because of the UFC. That I just don't. I can't. I don't like it. That's me. And I try not to be negative. One thing we try not to do is be negative. We try to look at the best in everyone, in everything. It's kind of hard. D-Ship says, what about Seth, Dean, and Brock at TLC or Rumble? TLC, see, here's the thing. If you do a ladder match, TLC, that can be believable because it doesn't take power to take him out. So that could work. D-Ship makes a good point there.
That's actually fantastic. If we have some kind of ladder match, a TLC match, and in my opinion, I've got Dean going over in that situation. And then we have Dean versus Seth going forward for the Universal title. This way, it's actually on the freaking show. I could completely buy into that if it's not going the route of McIntyre. Now, with that being said, me and you were on the phone the other day, and that's kind of the scenario I'm talking about. These two guys, Dean and Seth, should be elevated into that Universal title scene. It should be them chasing each other for the title. With, before that happening, Seth Rollins dropping the IC title to Drew McIntyre. And now you've got all kinds of options with McIntyre on that scene.
Yeah, I actually agree with more of like the Drew involved with that match, though. Because, I don't know. Does it have... Because... You're going to have Seth carry IC, World, Universal, and the tag title?
No, he's got to drop the IC title first. And I've got him dropping it to McIntyre. McIntyre's going to keep that title relevant. And then you have him drop it leading into TLC. Then you've got Dean, Rollins, and Lesnar all going in this ladder match. Dean Ambrose wins the title. And then we've got the chase. It's on from there. Seth Rollins chasing Dean Ambrose all the way to WrestleMania or Royal Rumble, wherever you want to cap that off at.
That is, you also, and you want the sympathy, and you get that sympathy because it goes with the turn that's related to the, like you said, with the Roman Reigns situation. Yeah, you get your emotional investment out of that, so it does make a lot of sense. I agree with you on that one. You turned me. You're very convincing, my friend, and you're good at what you do. That's why you do what you do, which I will not say.
I'm just speaking exactly what D-Shep is saying in the chat here. I'm just giving you the story I would build
you said it. You added more logic to it than dipshit.
I will give you credit, D-Shep. I got you.
No, I will give him that. They called the Kurt Angle thing. I just like breaking his balls because he breaks mine too. And if I knew he was going to be in here, I would have worn the freaking Phillies hat that he despises the most. Which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have someone is currently making a logo with that hat. But taking out the P and putting the Go Home Wrestling Show logo on it. Someone's doing it for me. And that's going to be a shirt. And I'm going to wear that shirt. I'm buying it. That's just to annoy D-Shep.
And I'll dispute this one right off the bat. Have Undertaker beat Brock? No way.
No fucking way.
No way.
That's worse than giving it to Goldberg in a way. I hate to say that. And by the way, I love what IWA Blaze said. Goldberg was a no-timer.
That's no joke.
Totally agree.
If the match is over 5 seconds, he loses.
Yep. Yeah, it wouldn't be a good thing for him. It would kill the title. At this point, I'm surprised the title isn't dead. All right, so with help of Kane, yes, that totally. It's so believable.
Yeah.
That
And to be honest, we're spending way too much time on Brock Lesnar. I just
all right,
whatever.
well,
I don't even give a shit anymore about him, to be honest.
all right, well, this is what I'll say to end this. Brock Lesnar, I will even say it to your face, and you could probably knock my head off, and I don't give a fuck. You're second to being the most overrated wrestler of all time. You're a joke. You're mediocre at best in the UFC. You're not exactly the dominant force. I was never a fan of him then, not a fan of him now. You destroyed the Universal title. And Vince, God, just go to the XFL, okay? Please, just let them take over. Like, you're destroying your product. As you go over and focus on the thing that you failed before, trying to redeem yourself before you croak. All right, let's move along.
D-Shep brought up a good one. If Batista is, and he's rumored to make one more run, I actually would not be one bit surprised to see him win the title off Brock at Royal Rumble, and we get that Triple H against Batista match for the title at WrestleMania, which to me is stupid to have those two go for the title, but it would not surprise me one bit.
I hate to break it to you. Triple H is gone for 9 months. He's not gonna be able.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah, all right. That came out, and which it upset me because I was actually looking forward to that. Because again, that doesn't even have to be a main event. A nostalgia match at a stage like WrestleMania, I would like to see him and Batista go at it. That would have been fun to watch, honestly. Not a main event, but it would have been fun to watch. So no, him having the title, no. But going the Rock route, which they might, because if he has a movie to promote, they'll probably do it.
Yep, but at the same time, we're talking about McIntyre, too, in all this sense. How fun would that be? Batista takes the title as the face at Royal Rumble. Now we got face Batista headlining WrestleMania against the heel Drew McIntyre. And McIntyre goes over. That would be a fun setup.
The fact that Batista can still move, it's astounding. Against Drew, I would really have. I mean, it could work. It could work.
It could actually be good, and not only that, you could turn. I understand Triple H is hurt; he's not going to be wrestling. But what a good mouthpiece for Drew McIntyre! How much more can he build to that feud?
Yeah,
that could be such a good setup.
Yeah, it could be. Oh, wow. I'm actually thinking. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking like how they could do it, and it's like because during that time, the first time he was in there, they could have relate to the first time Drew McIntyre was in there because Batista was still there. They could have done something like integrated, like, oh, here's my chance to finally get it. Well, yeah, I told you before. I told you back in the day when Vince brought you in and said you were the next, the future of the company. Because remember how he hyped him up when he first brought him in.
Yeah.
And I told you even then, you weren't worth it. You're not. It could be something like simple as that to build on that. And it could be a redemption thing, but also Drew, of course, being the heel. Yeah, there's no limits. He could pretty much do whatever to gain heat.
That could be a fun story.
Yeah, it could be. I'm sorry, I'm running it off of my head, and it's like, actually, it would work. That would work. The chosen E gimmick was fire. Wait, what? Fire one? Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go into this last match because I'm sure we're gonna bitch about this one too. Was the main event DX versus the Brothers of Destruction? Of course, you have to point out, yes, it was BS that I put in the prep sheet. It was a autocorrect error. DX wins in the end of the match with Triple H and HBK hit King with a sweet chin pedigree combo. Okay, well, we already discussed a little bit of how we felt about that match. Given that they are how they used to be, what did you think of their match?
It was better than I expected, hands down. But it was what I thought it was going to be at the same time. You had Undertaker and Kane extremely stiff and slow in the ring. You had Triple H actually outperform what he's done in the past couple years, to be honest.
That's somewhat happened, though, in result of that.
Yeah. And then you had the man, the greatest of all time, do what he does and steal the show.
Yeah, I think he did a lot better than I thought it was. I was surprised, and I was worried going into that match, but, I mean, it is what it was. And you basically said to yourself, he stole the show, because the next question was, what did you think of Shawn Michaels' return to the ring? He surprised me. He surprised me like he did back in 2002.
Yeah, and let me kind of clear this up. What I mean by steal the show, he didn't steal the entire show. I mean, not even close. He stole the match.
Yeah.
It was definitely all eyes on him, like it was set up to do.
Yep. All right. Well, now that we've discussed everything, we're at the end of covering that show. How would you rate Crown Jewel? Because it was a very controversial build to it. It seemed like it was just a clusterfuck going into it. And given by the results, what would you give it?
I'm going to be extremely generous. It gets a 1.5 because of the Styles and Joe match and HBK. The rest of it was pure crap.
Wait, would you give it again? What'd you give it? I'm sorry. You broke out there.
A very generous 1.5.
I was giving it a 2 because, you had quite a few good matches in there. Honestly, if you took out the finals of the shitty end of the World Cup tournament, obviously the Universal Championship match, and the fact that how they could have come up with a better ending so you didn't kill the rivalry between AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, I would have given it a 4. If those 3 things didn't happen, if they would have fixed the one and then the 2 results didn't happen, I'd give it a 2 because of that. All right, so let's go right into that. Let's hurry up because we're getting a little late here. Let's go right into it right away. Here's the list, ladies and gentlemen. The list is the segment we do. It's a WWE Power Rankings, and now it's involved with NXT. And even though we didn't cover NXT, but some of the participants of NXT were in the Evolution pay-per-view. So go with your list right away. Who's on your list this week?
I'm actually going to let you go first on this because I think I'm going to surprise you here.
All right. Oh, I get the honor to start it off. Here we go. I got it. I know I hate it. I know you're going to go, what the fuck? You just ranted about him? But you have to put it in there. It would be ignorant. As a wrestling fan, do not put him in it. Number 5 goes to Brock Lesnar. He won the Universal title, okay? Yes. All right. You can give me shit, but he won the title. You have to somehow throw him in there. Number 4, Shayna Baszler regaining the NXT Women's Championship, surprising the WWE Universe, including myself and actually, you thought she was going to win. Surprising a lot and regaining the title. I had to put her in the top 5 list, mainly because not only she was in a great match, did a great job, but regained the title. Number 3 is your Mae Young Classic 2018 winner, Toni Storm. Great match with, I can't pronounce the name, I do apologize, but who she faced. It was a great match, my match of the night, and the fact that she's the winner of the Mae Young Classic, I put her in number 3, and yes, it is higher than NXT. It was just, to me, was more of an honor to see that. Number 2 is your SmackDown Women's Champion, Becky Lynch. Not only she had a successful defense back at Evolution, but of course her goal, her gold promo calling out Ronda Rousey for the Survivor Series match between them two. So that I give Io Shirai. There you go. Thank you, Get 'em Jones. He always has to correct me. Thank you. And then that's number 2. Number 1 is your WWE Champion, AJ Styles. No better way than in a matter of 4 days have 2 good matches and no one could do it better than your number 2 wrestler in the world. In my opinion, should be number 1, AJ Styles. And that is my list, ladies and gentlemen. And now that we got mine, there's a reason why he put me ahead of him. I'm looking forward to hearing this, so go on.
Well, we'll knock out the first few before I surprise you.
Okay.
First of all, number 5, and this was so tough, I almost put Brock Lesnar in this spot. I just can't bring myself to do that.
I had to.
So with that being said, at number 5, the old man returning. HBK gets my number 5 spot.
Yeah, as much as he was an honorable mention on mine. But go ahead. All right, I agree.
Number 4, the heel turn of the century. And the way he sold the character Monday Night, Dean Ambrose at number 4.
All right.
Number 3, NXT Women's Champion. First one for the second time. Shayna Baszler.
Mm-hmm.
Sound the bells and whistles for the first time ever on this show. Me and you agree on number 1 and 2. I've got Lynch number 2 and the best wrestler in the world, AJ Styles, number 1.
Wow. Okay, so now mark this down because this week we were agreeing, but once D-Shep, his attitude flips and he somehow goes against me right away. So let's just make a clip of this, okay? Because right now we're agreeing. But once a-hole from up there in Cheeseland comes into the freaking mix, he turns on me. Nah, it's all good.
Depends on if we're talking about 205 Live.
You got that right. Oh, you love it too. Come on. We got to do a watch through eventually with that. But no, I agree. That is a pretty good list. That was the thing I was thinking about on number 5, though. HBK had a great match. But, I mean, if I'm going to bitch about let's make a Universal title important, you're killing it. For me not to put it on the list, I feel I'm just becoming a hypocrite. Not putting it on the list, and then that's why I put him on there. I wanted HBK on the list. But obviously, the women stole the show this week.
Look at that. That makes it unanimous between the 3 of us. He would have the same top 2.
Now definitely make a clip, ladies and gentlemen, because we really, really have a unanimous across the board agreement. That's the first thing that will never happen again. Now that we're done with that, that means that is the end of the show. Everyone, I know it was a clusterfuck, and obviously this won't be a podcast because there would be too much editing. It would be impossible to do. But we will be back next week, and man, this was a lit show. We had a lit chat. Everyone, I'll tell you, it was awesome. It was awesome. Sadly, I can't hit the raid thing because my keyboard's over there. If you want to give me a moment, I can do that.
I think we're all good to wait for you.
All right, hold on. All right, sorry about that. Well, thank you for... It was a clusterfuck of a show, but we do appreciate everyone that came in. It was a lit show. I had a lot of fun. Now, we're going to send it off to our buddy here, MMPR Mastodon. Please go over there. There you go. Did I get it right? Oh, no. Damn it. He does a double... Yes, I hit the wrong one. Yes. There you go. That's more like it. He does a WWE 2K Universe. Please go over there, give him a follow. We're going to rate him. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to do a watch along for Raw tomorrow. Tune in for that. We'll see you tomorrow. Whoever's going to be with me, we'll let you know. Later, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week for the show.